Congratulations, Finkley, for your win as the South Carolina Black Pages 20 under 40.
I just want to say I love you and I appreciate everything you do.
These higher educational professionals say HBCUs still matter.
We chat with Voorhees College President Dr. W. Franklin Evans.
HBCU spirit, to know that look at what you can become with an HBCU education.
And we chat with the panel from Allen University, including Marilyn Eason and Charles Singley III.
Definitely. We have such a long history of producing great leaders in all fields.
All coming up next on The Michael Finkley Show.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Michael Finkley Show. I'm Michael Finkley. Today is Monday, November 16th, 2020. Brand new week, it's Monday, y'all. So the things that you put off from last week to do this week, let's just do them. I'm one of them, I promise you, I'm one of them. I want to get it done this week, I promise you. If you have not already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Michael Finkley Show, and ring that bell for notification, and we'll send you an email saying, hey, new content was uploaded. Thank you so much to our subscribers, our new subscribers, our viewers, our new viewers. We are The Michael Finkley Show. We bring you shows that you need to hear and that you want to hear. We're here to inform, educate, and inspire you. Thank you so much for watching. So exciting show. You all know me with the Finkley Experience. I'm wearing this awesome shirt, and I'm a big advocate for education, higher education for those who want to pursue it. But I'm an even bigger advocate for HBCUs. Why? Because I went to one. So today we are talking about HBCUs and why they still matter. So we're talking with President Evans of Voorhees College in Denmark, South Carolina. And then we also will be chatting with the enrollment management team of my dear alma mater, Allen University in Columbia, South Carolina. Now let me say this. I reached out to Ms. Eason, who is the Dean of Enrollment Management at Allen University. And I told her that I just wanted her and the Director of Admissions, which is Mr. Charles Singley III. And so, to my surprise, when Ms. Eason brought on the head coach for football and assistant director for marching band and the dean of student affairs, the SGA president, financial aid, I mean, she got this team together and we had a good time. I'm telling you, like no other. So this is why I love HBCU so much. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story as well. So check out my HBCU experience. Take a look.
August 2007, I entered the walls and halls of Allen University as a first-generation college student. It was a very overwhelming experience. I did not know if I was going to fit in, make good grades, and coping with the fact that I was far away from my family. Now, man, that was hard. During my first semester, I was going to give up and leave. I asked my mama to come get me, and she was on her way until my stepfather stepped in and said, "Don't go get that boy." This is one of the best decisions she's ever made for me besides giving birth to me. Once I got active on my campus, it became home. Working in various departments such as admissions, financial aid, student affairs, I was initiated into the best fraternity ever known to man. I attended galas and lunches on behalf of the university. It was a great experience. I was also a UNCF and Time Joiner Scholar. And I got to ride on a plane for the first time to New York City, celebrating the centennial of the NAACP. Most importantly, the community of support was out of this world. Present day, I still keep in contact with professors and advisors. The friends I made 13 years ago, we still chat till this day. I've been to weddings and also seen babies born. It has been an awesome experience. Allen University prepared me for graduate school, my professional experience, and how to cope in different environments. Also, it prepared me for business life as an entrepreneur and to become a best-selling author. On this journey as well, I've gotten to meet awesome celebrities as well, including Lance Gross, John Quinones, Roland Martin, Schuler King, and the list continues. I owe everything to the Allen University. Truly, I pledge my love to thee. I always remember Allen University. Next, we chat with the Allen University. Don't you go away.
On the next Michael Finkley.
Wednesday, we are chatting with social media influencers. Their numbers are climbing the charts, and they are here to inform, educate, and entertain us. We have Quan the Poet with his inspirational moments. George the Conscious Lee is with us as he educates us. And we have Kristen Ware with us as she entertains us. It's a show you don't want to miss. Join us on the next Michael Finkley.
Looking for a mentoring program for your young male between the age of 6 and 18 in Columbia, South Carolina? Well, look no further. Big Homie, Little Homie Mentoring Program is the program for you.
Under the leadership of Mr. Jamal Stroud, Big Homie Little Homie is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that caters and mentors at-risk youth that come from single-parent homes. The organization caters to young males between the ages of 6 and 18 within the greater Columbia area. The organization is devoted to shaping and molding their life into great men of society. Big Homie Little Homie organizes male gatherings, discussions, and even educational assistance devoted to guiding and leading them into a positive light. Making a positive attitude will help in transforming their life regardless of what is experienced in life. For more information on Big Homie Little Homie Mentoring Program, visit our social media outlets, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Welcome back to the Michael Finkley Show. Y'all, this is a special moment for myself because I have my Allen University family with me. I attended Allen University in Columbia, South Carolina from 2007 to 2011, and it made me the person I am today. And many of these persons on the screen have seen me grow from what I used to be to where I am today. So I am just I'm so giddy. So we're going to talk about the HBCU experience, which is the Allen University today. And so we're just going to get started. So I'm just going to call on someone. When did you know education was your calling? Let's start with Miss Kennedy. Miss Kennedy, when did you know that education was your calling?
Well, I actually started off going to school to be in education.
Really?
I started off being a mathematics education teacher. So I did everything, but while I was in college, I did work study in the financial aid office. And while I did not graduate from the illustrious Allen University, I did graduate from the beautiful campus of Benedict College.
Okay, right across the street.
Right across the street, and they hired me on before I even graduated. So that's how I ended up in financial aid. So teaching and education has always been at my heart. It just so happened that after I did my work study job and I did so great at it, they hired me on as a financial aid counselor.
Oh, neat. And that's how it starts, right? You're working as an undergraduate, and then you just work your way in. I can definitely attest to that. Miss Eason, and we go way back. There's some history here. She was my advisor when I was at Allen University on many things. So, hey, Miss Eason.
Hello.
So when did you get the call that, hey, this is education's for you?
1989, exactly on August 25th, on my birthday.
All right.
Yeah, and I'm somewhat like Miss Kennedy. While I was in college at Voorhees College, I worked in the registrar's office. And in 1989, I was out in California, didn't apply for the job, but the president, Dr. Potts, I'll never forget him, called me to come and interview because my dad knew someone. And on that day, he said, this is your lucky day. And he hired me, and I worked in the teacher education department and loved it ever since.
Wow. Wow. Again, just starting there at your school and just working your way up. I love it. Mr. Singley, who is Director of Admissions at Allen University. What about you?
Yes. I would say I would have to start with my mother. My mother's educator, been educator all my life, elementary educator. So that definitely played a major role. Like Miss Kennedy and Miss Eason, I too worked in admissions in the registrar's office in the undergrad at South Carolina State University. And that's where I got my start with it. And then from there, you know, I tried public ed as well for a bit. And it was a great experience. But then once I got into higher ed, that was definitely for me. And I didn't turn back.
Oh, wow. Wow. There you go. And my story kind of matches all of you all. I started in admissions at Allen, and I actually started recruiting my freshman year. So I went back to my high school that August after I graduated and started recruiting students to come to Allen, and I've been doing it ever since. So definitely understand that. So Mr. Keaton, who is the head football coach at Allen University. So when I was at Allen, football was a story, right? It was something of the past. And now that Allen's in this new stage of rebranding itself, how has football assisted with that rebranding process?
I think it's changed the culture. I think that the culture has changed and shifted. I think with all the different things that we're trying to do and in terms of just growing what we're doing, I think it just enhanced the value. I think the AME Church, the college, and everybody else has done a great job in the history that Allen had already had in place. So when we decided to start football there, I think it was one of the greatest things. I think it was mainly brought back to increase enrollment. And I think it did just what the purpose of what it was asked to do. And now it's my job, and I have the task to be able to make it a winner. And I work hard at it every day diligently, and I'm very excited about the task. I mean, this is the very interesting part about it. I haven't lost any enthusiasm about it. I have really been. I actually think it's something that it's a honeypot. I really get excited every day. Every time I get to recruit a new class that comes in, I get excited about it. And I'm excited about I just wish we could have played this year. I was excited about it, but COVID kind of stepped in and knocked that off. But I think it has done its course. I think the culture is changing there. I think I've added a greater male value of the kids that we've brought in with GPAs, guys that would want to go to college and try to graduate. And we're just trying to teach them now how to be an alumni, how to appreciate what it means to be an alumni, how to take on the culture of what it means. And if once they empower themselves with that, I think it has a rich tradition already. All we got to do is do what we need to do.
Gotcha. Definitely. And I love the way you said about passion, because if you lose your passion, you might as well just find something else to do. So I love the way you said that the passion's still there for you. And
I felt slighted. Y'all didn't give me a chance to answer how I started.
Go ahead, please.
I started just like the rest of y'all. I was a work study student in the Dean of Students office. And I actually took a liking to what I was doing. I worked there for 4 years, from my freshman year all the way to my senior year. And I knew that higher education was a calling, but I actually had to take a job as a math teacher, sort of like Miss Kennedy. I taught for 4 years. I taught 7th grade math in order to make ends meet. And then I became a residence hall director, and I worked my way up through the college ranks.
All right. Moving on up. I love it. I love it. And not along with football, we have marching band now at Allen University, something that, again, was another story when I was there. Nothing in the talks of bringing it back, but as years went on, you know, this was something that was needed. I definitely needed. And Mr. Milford, you are one of the assistant directors. Again, how is that changing the culture at Allen University now?
Okay, first of all, my whole vision and philosophy as to where we are right now, I think when I first got here, I think Allen had a brand, but it wasn't strong enough. I think by adding band and football, it's changed the culture a lot. We have a lot more intelligent students than before. And I'm just going off what I've saw or seen on the campus. Most specifically, it's from the band. We have a lot of great students that we are attracting just because of being a musician. It requires a certain intellect. And because of that, we are getting stronger and we're adding a lot more fuel to the fire. And hopefully in the next coming years, Allen, between band and football, which is those are two main source of entities of newest implementation. I think Allen is going to be a really, really great force to be recognized just between those two entities that we're going to do it, get these top caliber students and help strengthen this brand that we are still gaining strength with. So for me, it's all about the brand, and we have a good brand. We're gonna get those type of students and change the culture for the state of South Carolina entirely. And so that's why we've been working so hard on missions and football and band, and everybody's kind of putting their piece to the puzzle to make this thing here thrive. And we're doing it slowly but surely, but COVID is not stopping us. We're here and, we're working through it, and we got some good numbers here in despite of it all. So hopefully next semester, if not next semester, for sure, we're gonna hopefully exceed these numbers of quality students, not just the quantity, some quality students.
Right. Definitely. And again, going into that branding and that cultural mindset, football, when you think of HBCUs, think of football, you think of marching bands, you think of all these different concepts that kind of just make up these entities. Miss Reeves, there are 101 HBCUs in the United States. Do you think the HBCUs are still relevant?
Definitely. We have such a long history of producing great leaders in all fields. And it's just something that they accepted us when no one else did. Mm-hmm. They were around when we tried to integrate other schools. It was a definite no. Yeah. And now here we are producing some of the greatest leaders in the world, and we're doing such a great job at it. And I think that even with COVID and how we're getting to see how the different schools are treating our people, yep. I think they're starting to want to come back, to come to where it's a culture, it's a different culture. Like it's so hard to explain. You have to experience it for yourself. And I'm so happy that I had the opportunity to attend an HBCU. It's something that I'd never, ever give back, because it's a family within. And even when you leave, the family is still there. And they always make sure that they welcome you when you return. So yes, we're relevant in so many ways, and we gotta remind our students, remind our family, remind our community that if it were not for our HBCUs, a lot of us wouldn't even be anywhere, even having this conversation right now.
Exactly, definitely. And I love the way you said leaders, because now we have a vice president-elect who is an HBCU graduate. So don't you tell me that we don't have the power to be all we can be. Definitely. And because there are 8 HBCUs in the state of South Carolina, ranging from Orangeburg to Columbia to Rock Hill to Sumter, how do you all collaborate with one another in unity as a state?
Well, what we do, we go to a conference called the NASAP Student Leadership Institute, and it's held during, I think, the month of May. And all the HBCU kings, queens, student leaders, SGA presidents, which are student leaders, they all come together, and it's a week long of events, programming, activities. And it's something that you have to experience for yourself. And this year we weren't able to attend, but when they leave or while they're there, they develop friendships. And when they leave, they use their connections to find out what each one is doing at their school. So instead of reinventing the wheel, they get information from one another and they use it to better their position, to better their institution. And so we all stay connected. And even during the pandemic, we had virtual conferences, and all the students from all the schools attended. Not all the students, but we had a great number of student leaders who did attend. Allen was in the number at each and every conference that was held. And so we're doing what we need to do. And I'm so proud of the student leaders, especially the 2020, 2021 leaders. They are like something I've never seen before. And Allen is proving itself to do what it needs to do to rebrand itself and become one of the top tier schools, not only in South Carolina, but in the world.
Yeah. Yep. Of course, it's the Allen University where we teach the mind to think, the hand, and to work, and the heart to love. This is what we do as an
Of
institution.
course.
Definitely, definitely. Miss Kennedy.
You are
So, as in the UNCF, you know, that caters to our brand, which is HBCU. And I myself was a UNCF scholar, person that received the scholarship. So, how has the UNCF assisted Allen University?
They send us funds on a regular basis. So their general scholarship is up to 5,000, and students only need a 2.5, and they are basically looking for students to give money to. So what we do is we encourage students. We hold webinars, we hold workshops, all kind of assistance to help them to just fill out the general profile and apply for it. Yep. And UNCF is very generous. They've given us funds for CISA. They've given us funds just for our students applying for the general scholarship application. They help our graduating seniors with balances. So they're always offering ways to help, not only monetarily, but even during COVID, and there was confusion about policies and procedures dealing with COVID. They offered workshops to help the HBCUs, you know, decipher the information and make sure that we were processing things according to what the federal regulation called for. So they've been a tremendous help. I can't say enough how much of a big help they've been for us.
I love it. All for the students, right? All
exactly.
For the students, definitely. Because if there are no students there, there would be no you, correct?
That is correct.
Yes, ma'am. So as Mr. SGA President, Mr. Julian, so what are some perks of attending an HBCU? What are some perks of attending Allen University?
Right, because I'm an advocate. Definitely, I love HBCUs, but I'm more so an advocate for the illustrious Allen University. So the perks of attending Allen University. One of the perks that we should talk about mainly is the family aspect of things. Just having professors and teachers and administration and faculty and staff on down to the custodians and all of that, on down to maintenance, all of that. It's just very family oriented, and you can come to them about anything, and they're there to help you out. Another good aspect about HBCUs and Allen University is definitely the ratio of classes to professors. Knowing that your professors are there for you, knowing that you can go to them to their office hours, knowing that you can ask questions in class and get them answered, and just get that educational, experience that you deserve. Another good thing about Allen University is just basically how they just attach themselves to educational success. I want to say some of the new perks that they have is just basically, supplying the students with tablets. Hey, you don't necessarily have what you necessarily could need, but we want to give you the tools that will allow you to get the educational experience that you deserve. Yeah. Also, the amount of work that goes into the activities. I really want to speak on the pandemic, especially because Allen University does an exceptional job as far as students are concerned. We're regularly tested. They make sure that we're wearing our masks. They make sure that we have masks. I mean, even before attending Allen University, Ms. Reeves and, student affairs and, all of them got together, really the whole staff and got together and made us all baskets as soon as we got there with different essentials as far as washcloths, right, and soap and things to clean your dorm rooms with, and we all had our own Allen University masks and just different stuff like that to ensure the health and safety of our campus. And we know that they put us first in that aspect, and I think that helped us get through this semester this way with no craziness that could have possibly happened. So if we're speaking on this year in general, I just want to say that the administration, I just want to say thank you, since we're on this platform, because I don't think I've had a true experience or a true time, especially from a student, to say thank you to all of the administration, staff, faculty, Dr. McNeely, the president of the university, Dr. Eldemeyer, the interim vice president of student affairs, and just everybody who gave the initiative to help the students and put us first this semester, and we all really appreciate it.
Oh, that's amazing. Can I enroll again? Good Lord, I love this. I love this. And it's straight from a student's mouth, correct? So that knows that it shows that you're doing something right. And it shows you're doing something right. Mr. Singley, he mentioned, Mr. Julian mentioned the pandemic. is affecting higher education as a whole. And so how has enrollment been at Allen University?
Enrollment actually has been very stable. We've been blessed through the hard work of enrollment management office, athletics, the band program, the other music programs, and all of the programs on campus, the new additional programs that all played a role in definitely it being a stable year. And in spite of the pandemic, we met the goals that we looked to meet. And it was definitely a stable year. Yes. So it was a great year actually this fall.
Wow, that's
we
good.
are definitely satisfied. Yes, sir.
Good for you all, because
now we want to move forward. We definitely got places we want to take the university and the enrollment numbers. But the pandemic did not stop us from reaching our goals.
Right, definitely. I love that, because a lot of your colleagues in enrollment management, in admissions, are struggling to meet those numbers. I've heard some things, but it's amazing that Allen University was able to not only keep but grow, and that's amazing in itself. And so, Ms. Eason, you know that enrollment and retention go hand in hand. So how are you retaining students during this time?
Well, what we've put in place, it's called the early alert. So not only just the faculty and some staff members and stakeholders during our mid-year, and usually every week a message go out letting us know whether students are not attending classes, or if students need some help with tutoring. We make sure we send that information out. We also notify the coaches of their athletes to give them a heads up. So in our athletic department, and Ms. Coach Keaton can talk about it, they also have tutoring for their athletes, and they monitor them as well. So we're making sure we're working with our students. We have for our incoming freshmen, starting fall 21, we're going to have the peer mentoring program, and also bring in organizations to also mentor our students as well.
Oh, awesome. Mr. Keaton, can you talk more about that peer mentoring tutoring aspect?
I'll speak on it as being a member of the retention committee here at Allen University.
Awesome.
We have worked diligently to create a peer leadership group. The guys that if you come in, and our guys, and I'm searching for the right words to say in here, that we got our kids, our students that are good students, we have them pairing with kids that may not be so great. And everybody needs somebody to be able to bring them along. So if they got a guy that goes to class, do what he's supposed to do the things that he needs to do, now not only does he have a person that cares about it, he created a friend that's doing the right thing. So we're trying to now transition that process to faculty. So when we get to faculty, now we're trying to get our faculty members to be able to peer up with our kids and say, do we care enough to make sure this kid graduates? I spoke to the faculty this last week, and it was very important to me, because I was one of those kids. Allen served a different type of kid. We serve kids that come from backgrounds that may not have two parents to go to college. They come from, underprivileged backgrounds. So it's going, each one of us have to teach one of us. And I gave them this story about how was I when I went to school, and how somebody cared enough that I graduate. I give a shout out to that Miss Singley, Mr. Singley, Miss Eason, Miss Reeves, the people that care enough to make sure that you get what you got to get. I think that's the importance of HBCUs. I think that's what we got. So we in turn created our tutorial program, put it downstairs to help the kids. Not only did we provide professional tutors, we provided peer tutors. And that gave them that if a kid just would not want to go to a professor because they want to feel like they're dumb, they can go to one of their peers and be led. And if the peer couldn't get them there, they could also recognize, and as Ms. Eason spoke on about the early alert system, that help us give us a chance that we save those kids.
Definitely. And as you were talking, it just took me back to when I first enrolled at Allen, and I didn't even know I was a first generation college student. I didn't know what that meant until I got to Allen University and realizing what that all entailed and how that my Allen University family bridged that gap for me to be the person I am today. So I'm glad that the legacy is still continuing. Miss Eason, what are the future plans of the Allen University?
Well, I'm gonna talk about two, but I'm not gonna steal Coach Keaton thunder. I'm gonna let him talk about the NCAA. But you asked earlier that you were so pleased with Allen, and can you enroll? Yes. Now Allen has a graduate program, and we have 2 degrees in our graduate program. That's the Master of Divinity and the Master of Arts, which will be housed in the Waverly a hospital, which, and I know everyone knows now, where Boeing partnered with Allen University, and we received $1.5 million for the renovation and help completion of the Waverly Hospital. So our seminary, Dickinson Green Seminary, will be housed there. But beginning fall 2021, are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Our teacher education program will be back, and it is called the Levitt School of Education. And a student will be able to get their elementary education degree. And so we're hoping in fall 2021, 30 plus students will probably be our first class, and then it'll start growing when we get these students who will probably transfer in. So we're very, very excited about that.
Oh, amazing. Go ahead, Keaton. Finish it off.
I'll speak on our the biggest thing is happening. We transitioned from NAIA to NCAA. It's going to be a big thing. We're joining the SIAC. Mr. Milford can chime in on this. The SIAC is one of the oldest conferences, 100 and some plus years old. You got the likes of Morehouse, Clark Atlanta, Tuskegee, all the great schools that we were used to seeing and accustomed. And I know it's just not big for football. I think it's big for the whole university, the branding, the Black culture. And I think Mr. Milford can speak on it. When Black people go to games, I always tell people as a coach, as a Black coach, you got to have a band.
Got to.
If you don't got a band to back you up, they like my show. But if Mr. Milford and Mr. Ellis don't put on the show, they're going to talk about that for the rest of the week.
Oh, yeah.
That's a part. I mean, the dancers got to look good. The show, the band, the fifth quarter, all that stuff matters. So now we're going to go against Black schools. It's going to create that pride that Allen can walk out and say, I bet my band blow Benedict band out this week, just to give them that pride. That's the things that's happening here at Allen University. So I'm excited. I can't tell you that I can't wait. That I got to tell Mr. Milford, hey, you're going to get me a penalty. Y'all stop battling each other during the game and let me take a snap right quick. Go ahead, Mr. Milford.
Oh, no, man, you pretty much covered everything, man. Like I said, I'm just excited. Ready to help really increase the football ability to win, and just really to have that extra support, that backbone. Because when I was a student at Benedict in 2004 as a freshman, Allen, I remember Allen had a football team, and actually they were pretty good. They were better than Benedict during the time I was there. They were winning a lot, but the only piece was missing. They didn't have a band, so we got the staff on both ends. So there's no reason why we can't push this thing in the right direction. We have it. We have the tools to get this thing going. So I'm just really excited for everything, man. Just hoping we can get it going.
I love this. Y'all, my heart is just smiling right now. It really is. This is my school. This is my alma mater. Y'all, I love this. I love this. And the change agents therein. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all. So encouraging words just to motivate our students in a time just like this. And Mr. Julian, what would you say to that population?
My encouraging words is basically the first thing is to just know that the pandemic is real. A lot of people walk around as if it's not, and it's very much so real. So just to know that it's real, and just to know that you are also not doing this for yourself. This is not a time to be selfish. It's a time to just really know that you're doing this and remaining healthy and safe for other people around you as well that are more affected by this than you possibly could be. Also, perseverance is also a different thing. Perseverance and resilience, being able to still do and still make headlines and make waves into being successful, still continuing on, still doing everything that you can do in your power during this pandemic to still be all that you can be, or to still be all that can be imagined. Continuing to just I need to like that, but continuing just to be that person and be who you're destined to be, and don't let this stop you, because we all know once we get through this pandemic, you can get through anything.
Right, right. Ms. Reeves, what would you tell our students in a time like this?
That this is really not as bad as I think people think it really is. And I don't want to diminish the fact that people have died. I've been sick, so I understand how important it is to be safe. But think about our ancestors.
Yeah.
They didn't go through what they went through for a small amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
They endured a lot of pain, a lot of people dying, and they still came out resilient. And so even though this is tough, because we're having to stay in the house, or we're having to wear a mask that you can hardly breathe.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it's made us tap into who we really are. And some of us are going to come out of this as having great, what do you call it? Your talents. You'll be able to hone into your talents and things that you didn't know that you could do. So, I mean, look at you. And so I think that a lot of us, God has given us the opportunity to sit back and to reflect on life, to reflect on who we are, reflect on who we want to become, and just how we can be change agents for not only us, for the children, for the older people, for anybody that we come in contact with or don't come in contact with. But we can make a change, and we're gonna have to look at this in a positive manner and not look at it as all bad, because it really isn't all bad.
Yeah, definitely. There's always the positive always reigns over the negative. Yes, ma'am. I want to say thank you to you, every one of you, for just being on with us today, talking about the awesome university, which is there in Allen University, and what it all represents. There's some great things happening. There's some change agents behind the name Allen, and it shows every day. And again, we are the Allen University, where we teach the mind to think, the hands to work, and the heart to love. Thank you so much for being here.
Coming up, we talk with Dr. Evans, president of Voorhees College. We'll be right back.
Calling all TRIO, Gear Up, JAG, and other college readiness organizations. Hello everybody, it's Finkley with the Finkley Experience. I am here to offer you information about our college readiness cohort series.
This college readiness series includes college applications, SAT, ACT prep, scholarships, financial aid, the mental mind state, HBCU versus PWI versus technical colleges, and so much more.
You know, this is helpful because it's actually like making me change my college plan.
Really?
If interested, visit our website, thefinkleyexperience.com, or just email us at michael@thefinkleyexperience.com. We're looking forward to working with you.
Hi there, it's Finkley. Do you want to become the next guest on the Michael Finkley Show? Do you have an incredible story to inform, educate, and inspire others? Well, you can. Email us at michael@thefinkleyexperience.com and follow us on our social media platforms. See you soon.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Michael Finkley Show. We are still celebrating HBCUs, and we have another one here with us today. And so we have the president of the Voorhees College in Denmark, South Carolina, Dr. W. Franklin Evans. Dr. Evans.
Good evening. Good evening.
How are you?
I am well and just excited to have this opportunity to share with you on today. Things are well. I'm alive, so I'm blessed.
That's it. Many can't say that.
So true. So true.
Yes, sir. Definitely. So, Dr. Evans, the concept of education, you actually pursuing it as a career, where did it start with you?
You know, I grew up as a youngster wanting to be an educator, wanting to be a teacher, but was told by so many other people, you don't want to be a teacher. They don't make any money. You don't want to be in education.
Okay.
I came from a long line of educators. My mother and her sisters and brothers were educators. My grandfather was a principal. So, you know, it's in my blood.
Yeah.
But I constantly would say, you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it. And so listening to particularly one of my brothers, I did not. But I was an obedient child, and my parents had said, no matter what you do, make sure you get certified to teach so that you can fall back on it. And I tried a couple of other careers, but there was this yearning inside of me that did not let me escape, and found my way getting into education, having been a television reporter. And
oh my gosh.
I know. And then in Atlanta, teaching was actually paying. I was making more as a teacher for 9 months than being a television reporter for 12 months. But there was something inside that I could not get away from it. And that was, God had a calling on my life to be an educator. And here I am many years later, doing what he would have me to do, having left K-12 and gotten into the higher ed ranks. So here I am.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I love that. I love the story of your venture. And where you actually got into the realm of higher education, when did the concept of, hey, presidents?
Oh, that was never an idea of mine, or never a desire. When I got into higher education, I did so training persons to become principals and assistant principals.
Wow.
That was my area of educational leadership. I also had a science background, and I started out as a science teacher. So I also was responsible for helping to train future science teachers. I taught a methods and materials class in science, but I had no desire to be in administration. But I had no desire to be in administration in K-12 as well. And as awesome as I was as a classroom teacher, teaching science, I realized that I could only impact the four walls of the students that I deal with. That if I really want to be impactful in the building, in the school, I had to do it as an administrator. The same thing in higher education. I felt like I was a wonderful professor. I was touching and changing lives. But in order to bring about the reform and the kind of impact that I needed, I couldn't do it just as a professor. I had to do it from the ranks of an administrator. And so persons recognized my skill, and next thing you know, you're pushed here and there, wanting you to move and to operate in certain positions. And so that's how I got out of just teaching into administration, professor. Then I became a director and an assistant dean, and I followed the transitional route through academia to be president. You know, dean, and then associate vice chancellor, vice president, vice president, provost, acting president, and then president. So it was. But I had no desire. In fact, once I got in higher education, my ultimate goal was to be provost and vice president. I don't mind being the number 2 person. I really don't mind following leadership. Some people want to be leaders, but you got to be good followers first. But for me, I didn't mind being that number 2 person, as long as that number 1 person valued and appreciated what I brought to the table. But I found out that there are a lot of leaders who are intimidated and threatened by people who are competent, people who are qualified, and folks who work under them. I'm not that kind of person.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, yes, sir. And I love the way you said you don't mind being number 2, but it just seems like God was like, no, I need you there. Stop playing. I need you up here because I know what you can do. And that's amazing. And now you're at the Voorhees College in Denmark, South Carolina. What makes Voorhees so different?
You know, Voorhees College is unique. We are one of the HBCUs. We are private. A lot of people don't realize that Voorhees College is the first higher ed institution founded by an African-American woman. And so Elizabeth Evelyn Wright is our founder, and the struggles that she went through to establish this institution, to educate individuals that look like you and I. During a time that women had no rights, and certainly African Americans were considered less than human beings. But here's at a young age of 23, someone who persevered and was not deterred, even though they burned down the school on 4, 5 different occasions. The tenacity of Elizabeth Evelyn Wright is why we are in existence today. And so Voorhees College has been changing minds and changing lives for almost 125 years. And so I am honored, I am privileged to be at the helm of such a fine institution. One of those institutions that started out as a K-12 sector. We're one of those. We've been an elementary school, a middle school, high school. We've been a 2-year college, and now we're currently a 4-year institution. And if it's God's will, hopefully within this time next year, we might be on the cusp of being a university.
I love it. Oh my word. Voorhees University has a ring to it.
I think so too.
Yes, sir.
I think so as well.
So there are 101 HBCUs across the country. And I feel like now, because we have a vice president who attended an HBCU, there are going to be some kind of excitement that goes along with that, especially with enrollment measures as that. And so do you feel that HBCUs still matter?
That's one of the questions that we hear all the time. What is the relevance of HBCUs? Now, we recognize that HBCUs came into existence because we had no other schools that we could attend. And so they were developed, they were created to serve a need. And many of them started off as normal schools. And so we couldn't go anywhere else. And so, yes, our HBCUs were established. But then over the years, times changed and legislation came into place so that we were allowed to go anywhere we want to. And so I happen to be one of those individuals that did not attend an HBCU. However, my siblings did. The siblings that were older than me, I mentioned my parents and all of that. I am a 4th generation college student.
Amazing.
So great-grandfather attended HBCU, grandparents, my mother, and then me. And so HBCUs were relevant then. They were meaningful then, but they still are relevant now, in that they still continue to educate a population of people that need the nurturing of an HBCU. When you look at the statistics and see that HBCUs only make up 3% of all higher ed institutions, but yet that 3% produces this large number of Black graduates, this large number of females in the sciences, the large number of teachers and lawyers and doctors, all come from our HBCUs. So are we relevant? Yes, we are still catering, nurturing, and dealing with a segment of the population, some who could not go anyplace else if it wasn't for our HBCUs. But don't be fooled. Our HBCUs are still being enrolled with individuals who could go to Harvard. Who could go to Duke and Chapel Hill, but they choose to be at our HBCUs. Now that the vice president-elect, a graduate of Howard University, is there, it's highlighting that yes, you can go to an HBCU and do anything your heart desires. When Thurgood Marshall became the first Black Supreme Court justice, you realize that he got his education from an HBCU. The Stacey Abrams, who almost became governor, but played a pivotal role in this current election of Joe Biden, Yeah. She's a graduate of Spelman College. You know, I can go on and on and on and name some individuals, but right here at Voorhees College, we've got individuals who are movers and shakers, who are paving the way and have been paving the way for years, doing some dynamic things. And so when anybody asks me, you know, are HBCUs still relevant? You know, is air still relevant? Is water still relevant? And so I see HBCUs as a natural resource. Yes, it's still relevant to have our HBCUs. Our HBCUs are still making a difference in this society, in this world.
Yeah, definitely. I love it. I'm a big advocate for HBCUs because I'm a product of one.
Yes.
The Allen University right there in Columbia, South Carolina. So big advocate. Yes, sir. Baby who I am today. And so you talked about the relevance of HBCUs. What about the legacy? Is it lost?
You know, I don't think it's lost, but I will tell you that we've got to tell our story. Yes. You know, if we can't expect people to know who we are or whose we are if we don't tell them. And sometimes we don't do a good enough job of putting our story out there. The other thing that we don't do is we're not doing a great job bringing up the next generation of learners and scholars, understanding the value of our HBCUs. You know, I was one of those individuals that did extremely well in high school. And so some of my classmates were targeted by HBCUs. I got a couple of HBCUs that reached out to me, but the PWIs were the ones trying to get me.
Right.
And they did everything in their power. But you know, I was one of those people who did well. However, there are other students that are general students, average students, some students who are the first in their family to graduate from high school. But we've got to do a better job of bombarding them with HBCU spirit, to know that look at what you can become with an HBCU education. And it really grieves my heart that there are a lot of HBCU graduates who are tight-lipped. They don't say anything. They don't say anything about it. They don't say anything to people they come in contact with. Some who are educators. There are some educators who graduated from HBCUs that their students would not even know they attended an HBCU.
Right.
And so that's bad. And so in order for our legacy to continue, those who were born and bred in HBCUs have got to stand up, stick their chest out and be proud. You got to share the word. You got to help bring up the next generation so that they understand the value and can do the same thing. See, we can't expect others to do what we won't do ourselves. So we've got to work on that legacy. And God is going to hold us accountable if we do not do our job in making sure that it's a legacy that lasts and stands.
Yes, definitely. And your passion for HBCUs shows, Dr. Evans, and also too, in what you're doing at Voorhees College is tremendous. So how have you all been during this pandemic?
You know, we like other institutions, we're having to suffer through it. But Voorhees College is that we are affiliated with the Episcopal Church, so I don't mind talking about God and how He's blessed us. When the pandemic hit in March, it did not catch us completely off guard. For whatever reason, we were proactive in the summer of 2019 to try to get our faculty certified as online instructors. We had been blessed to get our first approval for our first online degree with our accrediting body, SAC-COC. So we took it upon ourselves to spend money, to start training faculty. So when the summer of 2019 ended, 75% of our faculty members were certified online instructors.
I love it.
By December of 2019, another 20% of the folks. So when we went home for a holiday December break, 95% of our faculty members were online certified instructors. So when March rolled around and the pandemic hit, and when we came back from spring break and had to shift to online instructions, We weren't scrounging around,
Right.
running around
You're
like
ready.
God had prepared us.
Yeah.
We had already shifted last fall to a different online format for providing instruction. And so we were blessed. We were blessed that we did not have to deal with that. And so our students made the transition. We had to continue with online instruction in the spring. In the spring, in the summer. And summer is a time where we have some camps and some other things going on campus. During the spring and summer, time that we do some major fundraising initiatives to get us through that fiscal year. But because of the pandemic, we were not able to do that. We weren't able to have something that we call our trustee receptions, where our trustees in the different areas where they live help us raise money. We couldn't do our presidential scholarship ball, where we usually bring, we were anticipating bringing in about $300,000. So again, those are dollars that we weren't able to realize, because even though it's just a sit down dinner and we're serving chicken and something like that, people want to gather together and give money. And so we made an attempt. We can't gather together, but we still want you to give. And some people gave, but certainly not at the level that we anticipated. So the pandemic, it did hurt us financially. And then when we moved into the fall term, we made the decision that we did not think it would be wise for us to have students physically back on campus. We were one of the first HBCUs in South Carolina to make that decision. Right. And many of my colleagues looked at me and with the side eye and thinking, are you sure? Understanding that by not having students on campus, there's revenue you're not going to realize. They won't be in the dorms, and so you won't be getting the funding that you get from students living on campus. They won't be in the meal plan, taking advantage of the meal plan. And so once again, those are dollars you're not getting. Student activity fees, because they're not there. And so it's money that you're not going to realize. And so yes, it did hurt us in the pockets. But for me, you can't put a price tag on someone's life. You can't. And so we made that decision. I didn't make it in isolation. I'm one of those folks that think shared governance is important. And so I relied on stakeholders, even students. My SGA were involved in the decision-making process. And when we made that decision, as painful as it might have been financially, I did not have people calling, throwing eggs at me, or sending me nasty grams. People were supportive. People stood with me and said, President Evans, we think that was the best decision. Thank you for putting our lives first. And so it has been, the pandemic has been a challenge. But keeping safety precautions and making sure that one's health and wellness is priority has been our goal. And I will tell you, Mr. Finkley, that I am one of those survivors of the coronavirus.
Have mercy.
I was trying to be so careful in telling faculty, staff, and students how always talking to them about the precautions one needs to take in order to be safe. And then I end up being the first in the Voorhees family to contract the virus and was hospitalized for days. So I'm grateful that God saw fit to spare my life and obviously tell me that there's more work to be done. But as president, we lead by example. But it was never my intention to lead in contracting the virus for other people to see me. But we have been able to withstand this COVID-19, and we're still dealing with it. We're still dealing with it, and although we've got upcoming plans for the spring, we are still mindful that the numbers have already started ticking up, and the prediction is that this wave is still going to be quite significant. And have a major bearing on not just South Carolina, but the nation as a whole.
Yeah, definitely. And so we're so glad that you're well, Dr. Evans. So glad that you're well and you're still with us.
I am.
Definitely still with us. And so when you came back in for this academic year, dealing with the pandemic and trying to accommodate students, How did that affect admissions? Because we know that admissions is the nucleus of any institution. So how did you all handle that?
I'm one of those transparent leaders, and so when the prediction was that across the nation there will probably be declines in enrollment, and in talking with some of my fellow sister and brother presidents, a couple told me they were anticipating about a 40% decline in enrollment. And I was like, oh God, I hope that doesn't happen. Well, there were some HBCUs that had an increase in enrollment. Claflin, our sister institution was one of those. North Carolina A&T, I understand, Elizabeth City. So there were some. And then there were others that were able to kind of maintain where they were. We were one of those that did suffer a decline in enrollment. And so, there are some students who said, I don't want to, I don't like the online format. I want to be face to face. And so some students opted, freshman students opted to go to places that allowed them to be on campus. Right. Some other potential freshmen that we were supposed to get here said, this COVID-19 thing is scary. I don't think I want to go to school right now. I want to wait. We had some other students who they suffered some difficulties financially in their family, where mom, dad lost their job. And so now you got students having to work, go into the workforce right out of high school. So all of those factors played a role in our enrollment being reduced, that we did not get the numbers we were hoping for before COVID-19 came into existence. And so, when you don't have, we're one of those institutions that's enrollment driven. Most of our HBCUs are enrollment driven. And so you got to have students there to sustain what you're doing. But I tell you, God has been merciful. He's been good. The government did provide some funding for us. And then we've had some other generous donors who've helped and assisted as well.
Yeah, I love that. And the students that did decide to come and enroll, how are you retaining them during this time?
And so, I tell you that there's always a silver lining to a storm or bad weather. And so the silver lining for us, although enrollment went down, our retention rate went up. And so I tell you, one of the things that when I got here to Voorhees College, our retention rate was averaging about 40%, 41%. But after my first year here, our retention went up over 50%. And this is my 5th year. It has been over 50, 55 for the last 3 years. This year it was 56. So in the midst of a pandemic, our retention rate even went up. And so I praise God for that. But realistically, with the new students that we've got, we've had to do things very differently here. We have to be much more sensitive to our students. We're trying to communicate with them more, hear from them. We've sent out several surveys to get their input. We've had some forums so that they can kind of tell us what's going on. We've got faculty members, and we actually have a retention task force that have been reaching out to students. Those students who are in jeopardy of not coming back or not doing well, and not just students who may not be performing as well academically, but students are dealing with other issues as well. This pandemic has affected all of us psychologically. And so people are depressed, people are feeling down, the morale, all is a combination of things. And so we are trying to deal with and meet the needs of a holistic student, financial needs, their educational needs. And so we've had dollars that we've been able to funnel, emergency fund dollars to help students with rent, to help students with food. And you think you're having to do that? Yes, the CARES Act secure some other funds so that, you know, if there are students who the gap between financial aid and what the parent or the student is able to provide, we've been able to provide some assistance to, you know, lower that gap, to decrease that gap, the dollars that they have to pay. We bought technology. We've supplied our freshmen with Chromebooks and Wi-Fi resources. And so we've tried to be as proactive as possible, but more importantly, trying to communicate with our students. What's going on? Let us know how you're feeling, what's happening. And so we've charged faculty members with doing that, advisors with doing that, even our coaches are doing the same thing with their athletes. And so we, you know, it's been an all-out effort across the campus to do that.
Wow, that's amazing. And communication is key, definitely. And we know that within the world of enrollment management, to keep a student there is definitely gold, right? That is key as well. And so what's next for Voorhees College in the future?
Well, let me, you know, when I tell you in the midst of this pandemic that God has been good, I've got some excellent people that are employed at Voorhees College. Certainly, I want to take credit for it. I take the credit in being smart enough to attract them to the institution.
There you go.
And so we wrote some grants and applied for some grants to the federal government, some education grants. One particular grant we were successful in getting, and I got a call from Senator Tim Scott's office to let me know that we got a grant. Even Congressman Clobber's office sent word. We got $6 million over a 5-year period for what we call the VNet, Voorhees, and it's dealing with technology. We want to make sure that we are equipping people, particularly those in education, to be better at delivering technology and services to students. And so a $6 million grant that I was just elated because that grant also provides dollars for us to recruit students and to pay for education of these students. And so I was like, thank you, God, for the $6 million grant. 4 hours later, Mr. Finkley.
Not 4 hours later.
4 hours later, I get notification that Voorhees College is also the recipient of a $13 million grant for 3 years.
Y'all got money for
$13 million. And we call it the RISE grant. Rigorous instruction, does something with technology, but again, it's focusing on equipping individuals who may not be teachers but want to go back and get certified to teach. Got dollars for that. With this, it's going to allow us to do some amazing things, and hopefully we will be offering a master's of art in computer science. This will be Voorhees College's first graduate degree. And if we get approval for this, that means we can offer additional graduate degrees. This also means that Voorhees College now moves into the category of being Voorhees University.
There we go.
And so we've got dollars to hire top-notch individuals to be here to help deliver services. We'll have money to help pay for individuals to pay for their tuition, and then we've got dollars that are a part of this grant to give people stipends, so that while you're working on your degree, you don't have to go out and seek employment elsewhere. We're going to do that for you, and so these dollars allow us not only for degrees but even certificate programs. So I tell you, that's on the wave ahead for Voorhees College. We've got some other new degrees that we're looking at coming down the pipeline. We've done some concentration in our business degree with the concentration in real estate. Our concentration in real estate, so that when a student graduates from Voorhees College, he will have already taken the courses to be certified and passed the test. So he is a realtor. When he gets his degree, he'll also have that under his belt. The newest thing that we're moving in the direction of is hospitality management, hospitality and tourism management.
That's a huge market.
And so we want to capitalize on that. We had a donor to give us a house, a former employees of Voorhees who passed and gone. Their children decided to bequeath this house to us. It is a 2-story, it is beautiful brick home. They gave it to Voorhees College, and it is going to be used as our laboratory for hospitality management, bread and breakfast, so that our students will be manning it, learning what to do. So those are the things on the horizon. If you haven't been to our campus lately, we've had a major facelift. We got a new track facility last year, but we've been able to do some amazing things physically, so that students, when they come back, they're going to say, "Oh my gosh, Voorhees is the place to be." We've done some upgrades in the dormitories, our residence life facilities, and so I'm telling you, we're on the move. I'm just grateful to God for how He continues to bless us. If you look in U.S. News and World Report, Voorhees is ranked again there, and so as one of the best regional institutions, liberal institutions in the South, liberal arts institution in the South. This is our 3rd year of being there, so I'm as proud. And of course, we're also ranked as one of the better HBCUs.
Wow, y'all heard all this good stuff happening at Voorhees? In Denmark, South Carolina. This is amazing. And I love, again, I'm a big advocate, and I love to hear the amazing things that our HBCUs are doing. I just love this information. Dr. Evans, what would you say, encouraging words, what would you say to our students during this time of the pandemic that are just kind of still trying to find their way?
The one thing about our HBCUs is that throughout our history and existence, we've been able to mobilize our people. We've been able to put a covering over our people. We've been able to inspire our people to hang on in there. The challenges are going to come. That's life. But our HBCUs have taught its graduates, its alums, that you hang on in there, that God has already placed something inside of you, and that we're going to do our best to nurture and mature that. You're going to get through it. And when you get through it, you're going to be better. It's like no pain, no gain. That's how it is. And so I don't want students to lose sight of the fact that even though we're dealing with this pandemic, even though there are issues that we're faced with, God has seen us through difficulties before. Many of our HBCUs are founded on the church and spiritual principles. And so at Voorhees, we don't have a problem calling on the name of Jesus and relying on Him, because that's where our strength comes from. We still have chapel service. And even during this pandemic, we're doing it virtually. And I'm telling you, those services, those chapel services have been moving. They've been inspirational. They've been uplifting. And so I'm here to speak to you today, speaking to your spirit. This is just temporary. That it's not going to last. And when we come through this, we're going to be wiser. We're going to be better, and we're going to be able to propel you even further in life than you could have dreamed. So this is not a time right now to be weary or to lose faith or to get down and out and think that life's over. Oh no, this is just one hurdle. This is one test. And when we pass this test, we get promoted on to the next level. That's what it's about. The tests and trials and challenges only come to make us stronger. And our HBCUs have got a proven record of having gone through challenges like this. Voorhees College, as I told you, our founder dealt with the racism, the questions back then of relevance. and people burning down the school. And so we're still here. 124 years later, we're still here. So that means we're doing something right. And so to our current students, hang on in there. To our potential students, this is the place you want to be. HBCUs provide that extra stuff that you would not get anywhere else. I shared with you that, I'm not an HBCU graduate, but everywhere I've worked, alums, they ask me, so what year did you graduate from Voorhees College? At South Carolina State. So you're the class of what? When I was at Virginia Union. So now, what year did you graduate? Elizabeth City State, Alabama A&M, Tennessee State University. Everywhere I've been, people think that I'm an alum. Why? Because I get ingrained in what I'm doing. I become a part of where I am. And so my persona right now is Voorhees College. And so the passion I have for what I do, where I'm doing it, is one of those things that comes through, and people see me and they say, oh yeah, I know you graduated from that institution. I did not, but I was brought up by persons who graduated from HBCU. So it's in my blood, and I understand the importance of our HBCUs and what they have been doing for decades, for over 150 years. And so I'm proud to be a part of Elizabeth Evelyn Wright's legacy. I'm proud to be an administrator at several HBCUs. I am proud to have touched the lives and the minds of folks who are doing amazing things right now. When I look back at students that I personally taught, and to see how wonderful they are, and to see what they're doing, it says something. And then to see the students that have graduated, that I've given their degrees, and my name is signed on their degree. That is a proud moment for me. And I have no doubt in my mind that our HBCUs are going to continue to thrive and survive if we don't get weary and lose sight of the fact. Now, you got to do some work.
Of course.
You got to do some work. You've got to be competitive. You can't just stay there and think that because of a name that people are going to come there. Most of our HBCUs, we don't have such pleasantries as that. So we've got to put in the work. We've got to make sure that we not only survive, but that we thrive, and that the things we do are sustainable, so that our institution will be here for other generations to experience and to benefit from.
Love it. I love it. We're staying strong. We're staying strong.
Oh, yes.
We're definitely staying strong.
Right.
If you can't tell, he's also a pastor.
I knew you were going to throw that in. That was a whole new. That was a whole new thing. I would never. This time last year, I would not have thought that would have been the case. I've always been a minister, but being a pastor, no. But I tell you, as the president of Voorhees College, I'm a pastor. Because I'm responsible for the well-being of those that God has entrusted to me. So yes, I'm there to help guide spiritually, as well as educationally, those that are here on campus, whether it's a student, whether it's a faculty member, a staff member, even alums and board members. I have a responsibility to lead the life that Christ wants me to lead, and to be that example. And so, hey, I'm fitting in those shoes somewhat well.
And you're doing it very well, Dr. Evans.
Thank you. You are kind.
Very, very well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being on and telling the tale of Voorhees College and what you all about. Thank you so much, Dr. Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Finkley, for the invitation. Thank you for allowing me this platform and this opportunity to share just a little bit about me, about Voorhees College, and certainly the mission of our HBCUs. I commend you, sir, for a great job.
It's a family affair here on the Michael Finkley Show.
It's Family Friday, and you get to meet D'Angelo Finkley, and also the other Michael Finkley, Michael S. Finkley, as they share their stories of triumph and success. Don't you dare miss the next Michael Finkley Show.
Hello everybody, welcome back. So my thing is, the question I'm going to ask you, what did you learn? What did you learn today? What did you learn? Let's have a conversation below in the comments. Thank you so much to Voorhees College, Allen University. Y'all showed out, and I really appreciate you. If you're still looking for an institution that is wanting to meet your standards and what you want to achieve in education once you complete high school, look into your HBCUs. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. It created a person you see before you, so I'm just saying, it does some good work. Thank you again so much. On the next Michael Finkley Wednesday, I'm telling you, oh my gosh, another good show. We are talking about social media influencers and how they're here to inspire us and educate us and also entertain us as well. We have Quan the Poet. We also have George the Conscious Lee, and also Kristen Ware, who is with us on this Wednesday. So we're excited. They have, oh my gosh, viewership. Between the viewership and their subscribers, I'm talking about in the millions. They are racking it up, and they're telling us why they are racking these numbers up and why they sought to go through this platform. We're excited to talk about them. Oh, we're so excited. So see you Wednesday. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Michael Finkley Show, and ring that bell for notification. And we'll see you an email saying, hey, new content's uploaded. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd love to be a guest on The Michael Finkley Show, please email us at michael@thefinkleyexperience.com. Again, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you on Wednesday. Have a good one.